If you're repeating the same paging logic like count, skip, and take across your application, you're adding unnecessary code to your app. Let me show you a cleaner way. This is an example of a page results class, and the problem with this is that it's tightly coupled to products. Now, I've seen this many times in my 20 years as a .NET developer, where we're repeating the same code across the application. Now, there's actually nothing wrong with this class for products. So it's got the total count, counting the pages and the page size and the page count. It's also storing all the records. The problem is that if we wanted to add this for categories, we'd have to create a new class. To resolve this, we've created a new page results class with a generic type of T. T represents the type that we're returning results for, like the product or the categories. We can then use that to store the records. We're also going to store things like the total count page, page size, and page count. Now, all of these properties are read-only. We're going to set them in the constructor and then pass in the values as parameters. So for the records, we're using IEnumerable to represent that it's read-only. We could use iList or iCollection, but the thing with that though is that it exposes mutable methods like add and remove, but we're going to use IEnumerable because we don't need that. So we're passing in the parameters, then we're going to set the properties against them. So we'll do it for the records, we'll also do it for the total count, and we'll do it for the page and page size. The reason for using page results is that we only want to return a certain number of records, but we want to calculate the total number of records available and the number of pages. So here we're going to do page 1 with a page size of 10, so we get the first 10 records, it returns those records, and it also gives us the total count and the page count as well. So we know that there's 3 pages, so now we can call page 2, and that will give us the next 10 records. And when we call page 3, it will give us the final 5 records, like that. The one property that we haven't set is the page count, and we haven't added it as a parameter. The reason being is that we can calculate it using the page size and total count. Now, I've seen many developers do it where they just simply divide the total count by the page size. The problem with this is that it will round it to the nearest whole number. So for example, if you had 11 results and you had 10 per page, it would equal 1 and not 2, because 1.1 rounds it down to the nearest whole number, which is 1. But of course there's 2 pages, there's 10 on the first page and 1 on the second. What we need to do is we need to round it up to the nearest whole number, and we can do that by calling math.ceilin. So we convert it into an int, and for the calculation, we have to pass it either as a double or a decimal. We're going to do it as a double. And now if there were 11 results and the page size was 10, this would equal 2. A problem with this calculation is that if either total count or page size equals 0, this is either going to equal 0 or sometimes it won't even return a number. Of course, there's always going to be one page, so what we need to do is we need to check to see if both the total count and the page size is bigger than 0. If they're bigger than 0, then we just do the calculation like that. Otherwise, we're going to default the page count to 1. Now that we've added this class, we can add it to Entity Framework Core queries. Entity Framework Core is featured in my Minimal API course, linked in the description, where you can add queries in a real-world API. It's had great feedback from other developers, and there are free preview videos to get you started. Back to this video, let's use the PagedResults class in an EF Core query. This is how it will work. So in this product endpoint, we'll pass in the page and the page size. It will give us 10 records from the first page. In addition to that, it will give us the total count. It will reconfirm the page and the page size, and it will also give us the page count. We're using Entity Framework in this method, and it's returning the product's PagedResults class that we showed earlier. What we can do though with our new PagedResults class is that we can change it so it returns a PagedResults type, and if we have a look further down, the records are returning a product DTO. so we can use that as the generic type. Now, as a result of that, we need to change the return. So we need to create a new instance of the page list with a product DTO, and then we need to set the parameters. So we can set the records, the total count, the page, and the page size. The problem with this method, though, is that there's quite a lot of logic just to get the page results of a product. What we can do, though, is we can move all this logic into a queryable extension so it supports other types. Now we're going to add it in this static class. We'll create a new static method, we'll make it asynchronous, and we return a type of PagedResults with a type of T, and we're going to call it to PagedResultsAsync. Passing in the generic type again. Now for the parameters, we pass in the queryable. So at this point, we haven't actually executed the query, it's just a projection, and I'll show you why in a minute. We're also going to pass in the page and the page size. And we've also got an optional cancellation token if we want, but we'll just default that to its default value. The first thing we want to do is we want to get the total count. And we do that by calling query.countAsync, and we pass in the cancellation token. Now with this query, we would have already filtered the query based on what we want returned. So we're only counting the results that have been filtered. After that, we then get the records. Now this is where it gets a little bit complicated. We want to skip to a certain index number. So the way we do that is we get the page and then we minus it by 1 and then we times it by the page size. And then we take however many records that we want to return. So we pass in the page size for that. And then we convert it into a list and then pass in the cancellation token. And then we return a new page results of type T. And then we just pass in the records, the total count, the page, and the page size. Now it's important that when you calculate the total count, you do it before it's paginated down. If you were to do it on this query, it would only count the records that we are returning, rather than the total number of records that are available. We're now going to set this method so it uses the new queryable extension that we just created. And to make this even cleaner, we're going to add this to the iQueryable. We remove the async method, and then we make some changes to this query. So the first thing we need to do is we want to convert it to a product DTO. So we need to create a new instance of the product DTO for each record that we're returning. And then we simply call to PagedResultsAsync like that. We pass in the page size, and the cancellation token. As a result, we can just now return this, and we can remove all the other logic that's in this method. And now that's all we need to return those results. Notice how much cleaner it is now. Before, we had all the logic in that one method, and it would only support products. If we needed this for different types, we'd have to repeat this code. But now we can just call the toPagedResultsAsync method and it will support multiple types. That will keep your page results in Entity Framework Core a lot cleaner. And if you want to use it in your application, you can download the code linked in the description. One of the features I like about Entity Framework Core is query filters, and I go into detail in this video. I'll see you over there.